Okay, hello all. Today we have an important guest who works on many subjects actually, but her specialty lies in the, I don't know what it is, critical realism?
Maybe, why not?
Okay, relational theory.
Yes.
Something like that. She's interested in issues like methodological issues like the relationship between individual and society, the importance of ethics, about which she's going to present. She's going to make a presentation today, etc. So she's very important and I really admire her. So I asked her to come and make us a presentation. She's a nice person and she accepted. And unfortunately, you cannot see her face because I think there's a problem with her camera. It doesn't work, it seems. But still, she can make her presentation and we can hear her. Thank you very much, Professor Araz. Come.
Thank you.
And you accepted my request, and I'm very happy to have you here. So without much further ado, you can have the floor or whatever this thing is called. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a great honor for me talk in front of you and your students. I hope I can manage it. Again, sorry, because I really don't know what happened to my camera. Yesterday, I dropped my laptop, maybe something happened and it doesn't work now. Okay. Today, I'm not sure I can express myself clearly, but I'll try it. I'll start my talk to ask a weird question. How should human being of economics be? That's, of course, this question is related to ethics that I'm gonna focus on in my talk. My question is actually, there are many problems in the methodology of economics, and in my talk, in this talk, I'm gonna question of the concept of rational agent, because rational agent is a problem in mainstream economics. Actually, there are many problems in mainstream economy arise from many sources, but the unrealistic assumptions of the mainstream economics related to especially human behavior are the most fundamental criticism. The rational individual assumption is that mainstream economics is based on atomistic ontology, which means clearly indicates that individuals do not interact with individuals, and also individuals do not interact with environment, which called closed system. Closed systems, I mean closed system in which constant conjunction of the form whenever event X, then event Y occur, where these constant conjunction do not always occur are open system. Open system means, of course, a reversed closed system. Open system means individuals and also they interact with their environment. Closed system actually is about deductivist models. Deductivist models presuppose closed system. That's why my point in this today's talk I think we should think about how human being of economics should be. In the light of this development, the purpose of this talk is to place, I hope I can do this, ethics in economics and try to do it on the basis of social ontology. What's social ontology? Maybe you know or maybe not, but social ontology is a branch of philosophy that studies the nature of social beings. Firstly, I want to introduce to you an economist and philosopher. Maybe you have not heard his name before so far, Tony Lawson, who is interested in the methodology of economics and criticize the methodology of economics using social ontology. His social ontology named social ontology. He criticizes the methodology of economics that is based on mathematical deductivist methodology. Lawson uses this to show mathematical models used in mainstream economics. This methodology relies on Hume's causality. Actually, I mentioned previous slide, in which regularities of the form if event X, then event Y are necessary condition. To be clear, I want to give an example, such as demand law. We know that under ceteris paribus, the price of good increases, the demand of good decreases. Deductivist method is used in natural sciences with great success, but not in social sciences, because in social sciences, it is not possible to create experimental arrangement in social science. Therefore, the main issue of this talk is the analysis of the crisis in the economy and its reflection on ethics and the evaluation of this study in the context of Lawson's criticism of the method of economy. That's why I want to talk about ethics. You know Alfred Marshall, who is the leading figure of neoclassical economics. He stated ethics in his remarkable work titled Principle of Economics. He stated, ethical forces are among those of which the economist has to take account. Attempts have indeed been made to construct an abstract science with regard to the actions of an economic man who is under no ethical influences and who pursues pecuniary gain warily and energetically, but mechanically and selfishly. But they have not been successful or nor even thoroughly carried out. After Alfred Marshall, almost 100 years, Amartya Sen, who is awarded Nobel Prize, argues that the same subject, he said, economics has had two rather different origins, but related in rather different ways, concerned respectively with ethics, on the one hand called engineering, other called engineering on the other. Such as economists we know, Samuelson and Friedman are interested in the side of engineering, like Putnam and Sen are interested in ethics side. Also, Sen suggests that a closer contact with the ethic-related tradition, which goes back at least to Aristoteles, can enrich economic theorizing. Amartya Sen keeps on arguing the relationship between economics and ethics, and he refers to two main areas of contact. The ethics, one of them is the ethics-related view of motivation, and the second one is the ethics-related view on social achievement. The first one is, the ethics-related view of motivation is about human agency and his behavior. The second one addresses on social welfare, or Aristotle's terms, the good on man. In addition, ethics-related view of motivation, the first one, focuses on Socratic question of how should one live, while referring to the ethics-related view of social achievement as the Aristotelian question. The ethics-related of social achievement addresses Aristotle's society called eudaimonia. I hope I pronounce perfectly because I don't know, which means happy society or flourishing of society. So it can be said that the increasing distance between ethics and economics causes the modern economy to become more and more shallow. That's why we need to put ethics into economics. So I think it's time to talk on what ethics is. Surely it's not easy to define what ethics is. That's why I don't want to give a certain definition, but I just want to say that the term ethics brings a more theoretical perspective to discussions of morality in general. In short, the concept of ethics, which we can define as moral philosophy, can actually be defined as philosophical thinking about morality. That's why if we talk about ethics, we need to touch philosophy a little bit. And more, he published a book on ethics 1903. He distinguished ethics two parts. One of them is normative ethics. The second one is meta-ethics. Normative ethics means is about set of rules which actions are right, good, and necessary under moral responsibility. The other is meta-ethic, that is interested in the nature of ethical discourse. Meta-ethics is about actually ontology. Therefore, or within the framework of the generally accepted distinction of ethical theories, the issue of ethics is differentiated to deal with the action itself, the consequences of the action, and the character of the subject. I mean, there are three ethics approaches: consequentialism, utilitarian philosophy, the ontological approach, Kant's categorical imperatives, and also character of subject, Aristotle's virtue ethics. Consequentialism, consequentialism in which an action cannot be evaluated as good or bad on its own, but the consequences of the action are essential, represents the ethical understanding on which the utilitarian philosophy, in which mainstream economics is based, this ethical approach. The most important figures of these theories are John Stuart Mill and Jeremy Bentham. The basis of the method of the philosophy of utilitarianism is based on the necessity of completing the action. That is, no action can be considered in isolation from its consequences. It is right and wrong that ultimately emerges that determines the action. The The most important assumption of this philosophy is that goodness, pleasure, or happiness can be measurable. Utility function is the main indicator of measurement. Amartya Sen, I mentioned his name before, criticized the use of utility functions as an indicator of well-being, noting that utilitarianism relies on subjectivist mental metric. The second ethical theory is based on rightness of procedures, which is the ontological approaches. The leading figure of this approach is Immanuel Kant, and his theory, categorical imperatives. In categorical imperatives, when moral principles once acquired become a universal law and must be followed each individual. For example, we must tell the truth in every situation, since if lying would become a universal law, the possibility of communication is undermined. That's why it's important for us to tell truth. The third one is focused on the character of subject and related to Aristotelian eudaimonistic society. Here, human dispositions and human functionings are notions that were much elaborated by Aristotle. This kind of ethical theories that emphasize virtue and character shaped within the framework of Aristotle's ethical understanding. The important thing is that the existence of character and virtue is in the subject, and these are indispensable qualities for ethics. Here, moral values are acquired by the habit of moderate human inclinations. But it's important to consider the intent that caused the action to be taken. Aristotle, in his famous book called Ethics, while describing how a human life should be, actually tried to explain how to reach eudaimonia, which he conceptualized as virtue, friendship, right behavior, and good society. Okay, let's get started. How to make the connection between ethics and economics. Here is the question, how to make it. And I use social ontology. I will use social ontology to make the connection between economics and ethics. And I will use Tony Lawson's understanding of his social ontology. That's why in the beginning of my talk, I defined social ontology and told that I will use relational social ontology to express the link between ethics and economics. Finally, hopefully, actually, I will say something about how human being of economics should be. Maybe my claim is found so naive by you, but we are active beings unlike passive agent. That's why we have a power to transform society, because we are not only embedded in society, we also relational beings. That's why ethics is more important issue as comparing to others. Tony Lawson emphasized the importance of human and human relation in his definition of social ontology, which is the basic condition for the existence of the social field. Human being, qua human being, is always in social relations. This shows that human being is not only embedded in community or society, but also relational being. In this relationality that forms the basis of Lawson's social ontology. In short, or shortly, the structures that make up the social field come into existence as a result of human relational, and they are the product of this relationality. Therefore, or actually in relational social ontology, the transformational model of social activity demonstrates the transformative power of human. And the social structure consists of the social positions that people occupy. The relationality of people consists of their social roles and their position in relation to these roles. This indicates internal relation. In other words, it's a relationship where one cannot exist without the other. For example, it's not possible for us. I cannot exist without you. You cannot exist without us. We need each other. We connect each other, actually. Now we can make the connection between ethics and economics under relational social ontology and define how human of economics should be. Maybe it's not definition, but it's my hope, actually. Human relational is inherently normative, which means the existence of social relations that bind the various social positions of humans to each other and the rights and obligations that determine how the individual should progress. Thus, there's inherently a moral and ethical dimension to human relational. So, this relationality takes us how human being of economics should be regarding to ethical issues. Firstly, human beings have natures such that each does indeed have interest. Of course, we have interest. More usefully, human beings are the sorts of beings that can flourish. Generalized flourishing is not the basis of ethical thinking, the referent of the ethically good. The second one is morality exists throughout the human world, which means morality belongs us, actually. It concerns actions and objectives and the like. People everywhere act in accordance with actions and or objective is assessed as being right or wrong or good and bad. Human beings are inherently relational, as I said before. By this, I do not mean merely that we are embedded in society, rather we are social, relationally constituted. From the moment we are conceived, we are being socially formed. Certainly from birth onwards, it's very apparent that we are positioned according to gender, class, nation, culture, and so on. And according to our positions, we have rights and of course, we have obligations that relate us to others, whether similarly positioned or positioned controversially. Obligations with our rights matched by the internally related obligations of others. We are thus necessarily socio-relational beings. Sorry. Yes. Human beings have evolved in communities where the survival and flourishing of each depends on the survival and flourishing of the community, and so ultimately of all others. Therefore, are essentially as a result of evolutionary development, beings whose ability to flourish is bound up with the ability of all others to do so. It's in the interest of each of us that others around us and ultimately everyone flourishes. This is so regardless of similarities and differences, so long as the necessary conditions of flourishing of anyone is not necessarily undermining of the flourishing of others. I think it's then important, this paragraph is important for us because we don't need to undermine others to be flourished. We flourish together, actually. That's why we need each other. So the ethical goal that informs moral activity is a form of society that provides such condition. This following Aristoteles can be called the good society or eudaimonia. It seems to be the sort of formulation that Marx and Engels have in mind when in their books, the Communist Manifesto, they contemplate an association in which the free development of each is the condition for the free development of all. After all, morality is a phenomenon that exists in the human world, and the most important feature that distinguishes humans from other types of living things is to be moral. In this sense, morality rests, at least in part, on a shared human nature based on our biological integrity as a species. However, this common nature always exists historically and socially. That is, every human being is capable of moral reasoning in a real world where his actions have consequences. And so we have to be morally responsible for our own actions as well as for others. This is the consequences of moral truth giving way to moral realism rather than morality. As a result, in this respect, Aristotle's ethics of virtue fits very well with Lawson's relational social ontology, although there are some differences between them, especially Lawson accepts Aristotle's understanding of ethics in his famous article, Critical Ethical Naturalism and Orientation to Ethics. Since it is the ethical purpose that regulates moral action. This purpose is to reach the society that can be called the good society or eudaimonia, defined by Aristotle, as I said before. Maybe it could be the last word, but we can say lots of things about ethics, of course. I would like to say we are social relational beings. Therefore, the individual's ethical behavior will be the condition of others. This relationality is a prerequisite for human flourishing. In this sense, this development will be possible by forming moral action from actions that will lead to good society. This means that it's not necessary for each of us to undermine the interest of others. The idea that an ethical system must take into account the well-being of the whole society is a common feature of all moral systems. I think it is the important thing. We live in globalization, and they say we live in globalization. I don't believe in globalization, by the way, but if we believe in globalization, people are actually getting into more relational relations. In this sense, the interest of each of us require protecting the interest of the other. It seems unlikely that the individual of the mainstream economics who pursues his own interest on the basis of utilitarianism will understand such a relationality. As Lawson's status, mainstream economists' use of mathematical deductivist methods that predict closed system causes man to be treated as an isolated atom. Isolated atom means an independent individual. This is the individual's ability to act independently, that is, autonomously. Such an idea contradicts Lawson's claim that human being is a relational and social being as well as socially constructed. However, in every situation where people interact with each other, it will be possible to develop their abilities and ultimately develop together. We flourish together. No need to undermine others. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope I express myself clearly.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was very clear and loud, so that we understood the importance of being human and the importance of ethics.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I can only say that, amen, sister. Huh? We should come together.
Yes.
Live our lives in a flourishing way, etc., etc. Okay, that's a good point. But relationally, human beings are social beings, and social relations do matter, right? That's the most important idea, I guess.
Definitely. Maybe it is naive, but it's important. It is naive in this world, but I think we need each other. We should know we need each other. Yeah,
we need each other for what? Like Adam Smith, for the division of labor, or
no,
something else?
Yeah, division of labor, of course, but not just division of labor. We need each other to transform society, because we have a power to transform institution, to transform society. We can reach a good society set by Aristotle.
Okay, that's good. Thank you very much. Just a quick question. Why do we need Tony Lawson to learn these? Because, Mars also said similar things. And
I like Tony Lawson. That's why we need Tony Lawson.
That's okay. I mean, I cannot share your enthusiasm about Tony Lawson, but it's good.
He criticized the methodology of economics. It is the important thing. He opened the way for economists.
Okay.
He opened the way. We can go another way. There's an alternative for economics, actually. That's why he showed us. And also, he is my professor.
Okay,
you are my professor. I like you too,
Okay, thanks. Same here. I like you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, as a colleague, you are no longer a student of mine. You are a professor, so we are colleagues, and I really admire you and your work. And thank you very much for coming here. Unfortunately, we couldn't see your face, but that's all right. What you said are really important from the point of economics and the relationship between economics and humanity, right?
Yeah.
So I can also accept Tony Lawson's ideas in this matter, not necessarily in respect of others, of course.
Of course.
Okay, so is there any question or comment from the class?
No, they said just thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Well, I should have to thank them, actually. They are here, like 13 or 14 people. the rest of the class are dealing with some important things, I guess, but I'm going to show. Well, anyway, no, I don't want to finish this sentence. Okay. Okay, then. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Once again. And if you want to say anything.
No, I just want to say thank to you and thank to your students. And really, it's a great honor to join your class. Thank you so much for everything.
The honor is ours. So thank you very much once again. And you know, we should learn about the importance of ethics for economics.
Yeah.
That's the most important message, I guess, right? For today's class. At least this is what I would like to understand. Okay then. See you around. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you. Bye.